Hi, welcome back to Cannabis with Kim. I am Kim and I am making something for my first time. I'm so excited. So, I did the earlier video explaining all the things I was gonna do today, and I'm so proud of myself. I did this. So, this was acorn squash, my first time. Fun fact, acorn squash, while I was researching it, I found out that once you cook it, you can eat the skin too. What? So, I feel like this is even a better recipe. And mind you, I made up my own recipe. So again, if you want to see all the fresh ingredients that I was going to put in this, you can look at my previous video showing you what I was going to cook today on Friday. But I have it all here, so I'm going to kind of run through it all to explain what I did. So first thing I did was I cut open my acorn squash, obviously scooped out the guts, and I'm going to turn those are super yummy. I'm going to bake those suckers. And then I dosed it. So I'm using my dosed, look at that color, super green. This is some, I'm going to say this is a hybrid because it's all different kinds of flour that I have infused into, I was going to say avocado oil, but this is actually extra virgin olive oil. So I drizzled all of the open, once I scooped out the guts, I drizzled in some of the dosed oil. So they got their first dosing in the flesh when I was going to cook them. Then I used just salt, pepper, and I like cayenne. So I did a little bit of cayenne. That's it. Okay. Oh, maybe garlic too, because I like garlic. So I'm making these savory, obviously. So then I baked them, just follow the directions that they tell you on Google, whatever. So I baked them a little bit over an hour. And while these were baking, I then went to the stovetop and I cooked mushrooms. Okay. So, oops, that's a stem. I did shiitake and oyster mushrooms, sauteed those in a lot of dosed oil because they soak them up really good, a little bit of butter. And then, so you can use any dosed oil you want. I used obviously the olive oil and I put a little bit of regular butter, just a little bit. And then I chopped up some, because I had obviously some rosemary. So I chopped it up fine, put it in there, sauteed it with onions, celery, and the mushrooms. Okay. So I sauteed that all up and then I cooked I chose hot because I like some spice. So I sauteed this separately. Oh, I also put an apple in there. That's why I put the apple out. I had apple that were kind of beat up because from the apple orchard. And, don't judge me. They called for apples. And I was like, what? So I used them and it just added extra moisture. Like, you don't know that there's apples in there. So this is my first time ever using apples. So I was like, what the hell? We're doing butternut squash. I take that back. We're doing acorn squash. So why not throw some apples? It's all in the same season, right? So then I put in the apples, saute that all. And, I just use my regulars like salt, pepper, garlic. Okay. And then I mixed it with the pork sausage. And then I was going to do couscous and all this funky stuff. But no, I thought, what? I have stovetop stuffing mix in there. And so I just opened up the package of stovetop and I dumped it on the top of all my mixture once it was all heated up in there. And then I poured some water on top of it. And that's it. Oh, it is so good. Okay, so then once these guys are done, you can see, obviously, I scooped the guts out. And I didn't do it really close because you can see if you get really close to the, it'll go through the skin. Even though you can eat the skin, you don't want a hole in the skin yet. So then you and you can see all the squash and you just smush it up in there. And then I tasted it again. And, oh my God, it's so good. You can't even tell that there's, vegetables in here, honestly. So yeah, it is off the charts. It kind of reminds me of my grandma's Thanksgiving stuffing because she always used pork sausage, not hot. And she used green peppers and onions, not celery, but and definitely not squash or apples. But that just made it super moist. So I might be making this for my Thanksgiving stuffing now. I'm not gonna lie, this recipe is really amazing. Also, it dawned on me you could throw nuts in here if you're about the nuts, man. So if you want some walnuts in here or whatever, you could put them in here too. I'm sure it'd be amazing. Because let's be honest, this is kind of smushy. So I guess with walnuts or whatever, you can make it crunchy, but I don't need it crunchy. It's so good. So again, we have some oil dosing in these while I baked them. Then I use the oil to saute the mushrooms. Then I put more oil when I sauteed the onions and the celery and the apples. So we've got dosed layer on top of dosed layer on top of dosed layer. So these babies are ready. And then of course I just am stuffing them back in here, and I think you bake them again. I think they call for cheese too, but there's no way I'm putting cheese on this because it is just like a Thanksgiving dinner. Yeah. So needless to say, I am thrilled with this new experiment. It's going to be my Thanksgiving toast recipe that I am so excited to share with others. And I hope you try it. And again, I just did whatever I had in the house, the kitchen sink kind of thing. So we went away from couscous, all Mediterranean, and we ended up on stovetop. Comfort food. So as always, happy dosing.